Yeah. No, I mean, faith is just such an integral part of my life. It's just been something that has been right there entirely through my whole childhood, was raised in a Christian home, and I'm so really thankful for that, to be able to be raised in an environment where these values were just so inbuilt in me as a child. And the entire time as I've walked my way through my life, those values and that faith system has been at the core of who I am. It's been something that through really challenging times I've had the ability to be able to fall back onto. It's been that thing that's provided that hope in the middle of those really tough seasons that you go through, because life can get messy, life can get challenging, it's unpredictable, it's wild, and yet in the middle of it all, when you've got that hope to be able to hang on to, you feel like you still have your head above water. You're not completely consumed by the weight and the heaviness of everything. That's the difference that faith makes in my life. It's so much more than that too, man. But it's not just necessarily the crutch for that support system when stuff's really hard. It can also elevate the times that are really good to be really great as well. It's not necessarily just that life's all good, so I've got this under control, and so when it turns bad, then that's when I turn to my faith. No, it's like when things are also in a really good and a really healthy spot as well, it elevates that position even higher. There's so much more joy which is brought to your life. Because I've had that experience from my childhood all the way through to my adulthood down in my 40s, and I've just had that experience right through my life where faith has been a central component to it all. I've just seen God do too much stuff to be able to not say, man, how good is this? There's been so much time where when things are going well, you can celebrate and you can praise and you can be just like, man, God's so good. And then other times when life is a little bit more challenging, it can be that hope that you hang on to. Seriously, I was thinking about this the other day, just how someone who hasn't got that faith in God yet, they wouldn't have that positional statement of, this is what I fundamentally, at my core, this is what I'm about. I'm like, what do they fall back on when life gets tough? What's the light at the end of the tunnel? What's that hope that they can foresee and really pray for on the other side? What's that peace that they get in the middle of the storm? It's so much harder because you just haven't got that faith to be able to hang on to when you're in the midst of that stuff. One thing that for my wife and I, one of the big moments of our story where our faith really got challenged and really got tested was a number of years ago when we were trying to start a family. And we went through a number of years of infertility and trying again, and nothing was really happening. Even just thinking about it now, just getting emotional all over again. And it's so funny because we've got 3 beautiful, healthy kids now, but when we're in the middle of that season of trying to start a family, it was everything that our heart wanted. It just wasn't happening. And we were praying and we were just seeking after God. Our church family was incredible through that season. And our family was amazing. And it was one of the toughest seasons that we ever had to walk through. It really was. And our faith was such a key component of that, to be able to have that faith, to have that hope, to be able to have that let's just keep going. Let's just keep pushing. And here we are on the other side with 3 amazing, beautiful, healthy children living a life that we could have only dreamed of 10, 20 years ago. And now, mate, it's so good. God's so good. My encouragement would be, regardless of whether you find yourself in one of those really challenging seasons right now or whether life is actually really, really great, you might have just hit that peak, you've finally hit that goal, you've finally reached that thing you've been working towards for a long time, potentially. What I would say is that if we think that we know it all, then, we need to challenge our belief system a little bit more. I think there is so much in this world that we don't know. There is so much more from a knowledge point of view, from a faith component. There is so much more that our brains haven't even begun to wrap its little head around yet. And so I would almost encourage you to say, if you think that you've got everything and you know everything, there's still so much more that you can experience. There's still so much more that there is to learn about life. And for someone that's really doing it tough at the moment, I would encourage you to start to ask some of those faith questions. It's the anchor through those tough times. It's those incredibly challenging moments in life where you really feel like it's that thing that provides you with that peace. It's that thing that provides you with that comfort. Even though there is craziness in your world all around you, you can still be at peace. And there's a difference between happiness and joy. That happiness is an emotion and joy is almost a state of being. And yet our faith can provide that joy in the middle of some of the toughest seasons in life. And so I would encourage you to just explore, just ask a few more questions and just dig a little deeper. And I mean, with all of those kind of questions, with any kind of thought, with any kind of idea that you have, you know what, Alpha's so good to be able to have those open discussions because it's a safe environment. You know, the amount of questions that get asked during an Alpha session, I promise you, the ones that you've got are some that have been answered by other people exactly the same way, because people have been where you are. And just ask the questions. Check out Alpha. It's so worth it. I don't know why I got so emotional.